right now building her house, it feels like I'm like pushing a huge boulder up a mountain. Like that's how I feel right now. Like as an entrepreneur, I'm like pushing this huge ass boulder up this mountain. Welcome to the Dream Big, Have Adventures podcast, where your big entrepreneurial dreams and your dreams of travel and adventure collide. Hi, I'm your host, Tess. I'm a published author and founder of HerHouse, an app community of solo women travelers who host each other for free, giving us safe, affordable accommodation and a supportive network of women all around the world. Here, we mesh big dreams of building business with your thirst for adventure. Because I'm going to give you a hint. They're actually way more connected than you realize. On here, I dive into building a tech startup as a solo founder and bring women from the HerHouse community onto the show to share what they're building and how we're bringing women together by hosting others in our network. So no matter where you're listening to this, doing the dishes, on the road, or in the airport, if you have big dreams and a thirst for adventure, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Okay, so how I built HerHouse. So some people ask me that, like, how did you build this? So I'm actually going to tell you this whole story right now. So in early 2021, I came across a TED Talk that changed my life. Like I had the idea for HerHouse back in 2017, 2018, just sat on it for a couple of years. And then in early 2021, I came across a TED Talk that changed my life. It was actually from Tara Reid. She was talking about the concept of building apps without coding and being a tech entrepreneur. And I saw this and I was like, what is this? Then I started like binging like anything that Tara had on the internet. And then I ended up going through her apps without code program. And so what that taught me, it taught me how to use a program called Glide. Now, Glide is a no-code software for apps. So you can actually build apps without coding. Like that's what her program is, apps without code, right? And so excited that this might actually happen for me. This might actually be real. Like this is how I'm going to build HerHouse, because like the whole concept of HerHouse and building software and building an app like really, really overwhelmed me for a really long time. I have no idea how to do this. So, yeah, I looked at apps without code as like a vehicle to get me started in that way. So I went ahead and went through her course, and I will tell you, girl, like it was the hardest thing I have ever done in my life to this day. Like it was harder than like dealing with like having a child or like writing my book. My book was like easy peasy compared to building my app on that platform. It stretched me. It stretched my brain to its limits. It made me think more deeply about my business and how it works. I started building the interface, and then I was like connecting it to my email provider, my payment provider, my website, like learning how to use Zapier and learning how webhooks work. You know, I learned so much, like who I became in the process of building my app, I believe made me such a better entrepreneur, to be honest, like being able to build my app myself, learning how this stuff works. I understand for the most part, like how this, this technology works on the back end, and I know how complex these things are. And I really can appreciate how much work goes into these things. So fast forward, I was able to build, so it's called the MVP, or a minimally viable product, right? It's just like essentially the first version of the technology. So I built the MVP within about 6 months, and actually, during that season, I was also finishing up my book. I had been working on my book, Sherbert Skies, for a few years, just like, because it was just like a love for me. I loved writing about my time, like sailing in Australia. And so I was just finishing up my book at that same time. It was crazy. So while I was working on the app, I was also like in talks with my publisher, working on like formatting Sherbert Sky's manuscript and getting it formatted for Amazon. And she wanted to do a book launch in late October. So having the book launch like in my calendar really forced me to launch the app, because I didn't want to launch the app and the book at the same time. And I didn't really want to wait until after the book was launched, because then I would go into the holidays and then I would go into like maybe even the new year. And I just really wanted to get it out in October. So I ended up soft launching it just to my personal community. I had built up a very small Facebook group. I had maybe like a couple hundred people in it. And that was really my sounding board, actually. Like while I was building the app, I had kind of like my HerHouse community starting to build in that Facebook group. I would be like, hey, like, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about that? I really wanted to bring the girls into the process of building it with me, because we're all just kind of building it together. And that's how I really wanted them to feel like they're a part of the process with me. So I soft launched it. I just did a Facebook Live and I was like, it's live. Like you can, like, here's the link to get it and stuff. And at the time, well, it was a web app. These no code platforms are web apps. So they would just have to go to like a URL link and then they could download it. And then if you save it to you can actually save it to your phone, and it works pretty much like a native app. But people like don't really understand how to use those very much. You have to teach them how to use it. So from October to, the early part of 2022 was challenging, because you would have to like, oh yeah, it's an app, but it's like not in the app stores. You have to like go to this link, and that, it's really confusing to people. So in February of 2022, I was able to get it approved into the app stores. And these web apps are a little bit trickier. They're tricky to get into the app stores because they're not native. So they basically, I don't know how, I had a tech guy do it, but they basically have to put like a wrapper around them so that Apple and Google will accept them. So I don't know, my guy was able to get it done. So I did have my Glide app in the app stores. So it was approved into the app stores in February of 2022. And things started really getting exciting in February of 2022. It started getting so much buzz, mainly in Facebook, like these Facebook groups. My Facebook, I was very active on Facebook at the time. So, so I was posting a lot about it. Like, we're in the app stores. We're like really excited about this. And then it started getting shared in a few big Facebook groups online. Get a drink. And I don't know what it was about the algorithms in Facebook at the time, but it was like, every time I would post about HerHouse in these Facebook groups, hundreds. It was insane, like fireworks. I would like wildfire, like hundreds of likes, hundreds of comments, hundreds of downloads within like a couple of hours. It was insane. It was like flooding of downloads of like new people getting on the app from all over the world. It was crazy. Like by the end of like that year, we had like a couple thousand people downloading the app. It was insane. And at the end of that year, Tara actually invited me to go to New York with her. She was going to be on Good Morning America, and she wanted me and another successful Apps Without Code alumni to go with her. So I was able to be on Good Morning America in December of 2022. So that was just such a surreal moment. We were offering the founding memberships at that time, and it did really well financial. I'll say like really well. I mean, for me, like going from like absolutely zero to like, or even in the negative to like making money like in the total green in 2022 was incredible. And I had like shit technology at the time. So it was an incredible year. 2022 was amazing for HerHouse. Then 2023 happened. So going into 2023, I started really realizing that the technology that I had built was not going to be of good service to my community. Yeah, they loved the concept of it. They were really excited about it, but the technology like really wasn't there. Like I was really trying to figure out how to make this business work, especially with like reoccurring monthly and yearly memberships. But the problem was is that the conversions were low, churn was really high. People were really excited about it. They liked the concept, but like I couldn't get people in and I couldn't get them to stay. And it was really like because of the technology, the messaging, really wasn't working because it is a no code web app. It didn't have push notifications. So like girls would try to be like sending messages to each other and they wouldn't get any replies back. And they would be like, this is fake. Like, you lied to us. Like I had so many refund requests, and it was just like such a hard season for me because the technology was just not serving these my users to the extent that I really believed that was possible for them. And then another thing happened to me in 2023. Summer of 2023, I got pregnant. So shout out to all the mompreneurs out there, like building businesses while you're having babies, because it was a lot. When I got pregnant, I just lost like all of my ambition. Not like lost all of it, but I was like super sick and tired, and I just like I wasn't creative. I didn't have drive to like build her house like during that season. And I really knew that the app needed to get rebuilt. Like I just knew that this happened. In early 2024, I actually had it rebuilt on the Glide platform, like it's kind of hard to explain, but they like phased out the classic one that I had originally built her house on, and they've had this new version of Glide, and I would have to rebuild almost all of the interface. So I was like, I have no capacity to do that. So I ended up hiring a guy to help me do that. And he got it done in early of 2024. And I had my son in March of 2024. And I got I did some finalization of the new Glide app rebuild, like during my maternity leave and stuff. But while I had a newborn and postpartum, like I really did not have the capacity to work on her house. And I hate saying that. And I was tired all the time. And I actually went back to work. Like I also work a 9 to 5 in conjunction to all of this. I know I'm a crazy person, right? But I went back to work, and between work and my baby and not sleeping, I just really did not have capacity or thought processes to continue building this business. But then in November of 2024, I finally sleep trained my son. So he started sleeping through the night. And so having him sleep through the night was an imperative point for me to be able to continue working on this business. Because in January of 2025, I was like, okay, it's time to really do something with this. Like, if I don't do something with this now, like this year in 2025, I won't be able to go on. Like I'm running out of money. Like I'm actually starting to go into debt again for this business. It's not like supporting itself. I can't support it like personally anymore. So I was like, something has to happen. So I was really like trying to figure out in early 2025, what do I need to do for this? Because I had rebuilt her house once, like on the Glide platform. And I was like, what do I need? Like, do I need a mentor? Do I need another course? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to invest in ads? What do I need? So I was like really trying to figure that out. And then I really, like, once I like really thought about like looking at getting press or looking at getting this or that, I was like, why am I scared to talk about her house? Like, why am I scared to get it out into the world? And at the core of it is like, I don't trust the tech. I don't trust that like, if I blow this up, like if like someone gets a hold of this and everyone finally knows about her house finally, and I get all of these users on this platform, they're all just going to have a horrible experience and they're all just going to think it's shit and they're all going to bounce. And I was like, I don't trust the tech. Like, I have to get this rebuilt properly in order for this business to thrive or even survive, let alone thrive. I started connecting with some people, doing some research, and found I always really liked Mighty Networks. If I didn't already have like an actual app in the marketplace, I probably would have chosen to like work with Mighty Networks like a long time ago. But Mighty Networks is doing a lot of really great stuff when it comes to like community building and stuff. And then I realized that they actually build apps, like branded apps for people. And I was like, wait. They're like pros when it comes to building community and utilizing this. So I started looking into it. And I was like, this sounds awesome. It's going to take the technology off of my plate, because I think that's another reason why I also had a hard time growing it, is because I had all of the weight of the technology sitting on my shoulders. If anything was wrong in the app, I would have to go in and try to figure out how to fix it. I didn't have a team. I didn't have anything like that to like lean on. I was handling all of the technology, and the technology is not my zone of genius. It's somewhere, I call it developer land, when I have to like put myself into like a developer land shoes, when I have to like figure things out on the back end. I call it developer land because it's like really, really deep work. And so I was like, finally, I could give all this technology over to a team that knows how to do this stuff. They're the pros, so that I can actually focus on building the business, developing the community, speaking engagements, press, like doing this podcast. These are all things that like I did not have bandwidth for, but now with this new technology, anyway, at this time, like I found Mighty Networks branded apps. It's about 30 grand to have this native app done with Mighty. And in the world of app development, that's actually not that bad. Like when it comes to professional app development, like native app, like I have seen ranges like 50,000 plus to do stuff like this. So the price of it didn't really scare me at all, but I was just trying to figure out, how am I going to come up with $30,000? And then I was like, just trying like, do I get an investor? Like, how do I do this? So what I ended up doing is I ended up running a Kickstarter. I ran a Kickstarter in April. Yeah, April of 2025, like April into May. And again, really had no idea what I was doing. Starter was a whole other bag of worms that I opened up, but I really didn't know what I was doing. Like, I'm just like, I need fucking money, and I don't know how to get it, but I do have a community. And so I started like, okay, guys, like this is what we're going to do. We're going to get the app rebuilt, and we're going to run a Kickstarter to do it. And so started getting buzz. The community started banding together and sharing it and connecting me with people. And yeah, definitely like started getting pledges, and it was really exciting. And long story short, the Kickstarter failed. But what happened is it got me out into the market, and it showed that I was a serious entrepreneur with a really good idea. And so it connected me with Sahara of the Travel Coach Network. And Sahara's been, she has tons of press, she's done a lot in the travel space. She's very connected in the travel community, and she invited me on her podcast. So I was on her podcast. We had a great conversation, great interview. And at the end, after we stopped recording, she was like, okay, so how's your Kickstarter going? And I was like, yeah, it's going okay. It was kind of, I think like still early, I think, in the Kickstarter when I talked to Sahara. And she's like, well, are you open at all in like investment relationships? And I was like, yeah, I'm totally open to investment relationships with the right people or the right person. Getting an investor was a really, really nerve-wracking situation. I didn't know what that entailed that and stuff. So we ended up going back and forth for several weeks, like figuring out what we wanted to do and that we wanted to work together. And she's like, I really believe in you. I believe in HerHouse. I really think that, I can bring a lot of value to you, not only as an entrepreneur, but I have a great network and, I could bring some capital to the table to help get the app rebuilt started. And so, yeah, so we ended up cutting a deal. So Sahara is now, my investor in HerHouse, and she's brought just an influx of incredible women from the travel coach network into HerHouse. Just amazing heart-centered women who love travel, who love solo travel and want to be a part of this with us. Huge props to Sahara. She's been an amazing person for me and to work with. And so, yeah, so we were able to get the app rebuilt in summer of 2025 on the Mighty Networks with the Mighty Networks developer team. And so that was really exciting. So now at the time of this recording, it's October of 2025. And we've recently had our grand reopening to share HerHouse, with the world. And it's just like every day, just a little bit like by little bit, every member, every new person that joins HerHouse is just like building it, building it, building it. And then it will just continue to blossom over time. Right now, building HerHouse, it feels like I'm like pushing a huge boulder up a mountain. Like that's how I feel right now. Like as an entrepreneur, I'm like pushing this huge ass boulder up this mountain. But then once we hit critical mass, like at the top of that at the top of the mountain, I don't know what that number is. Because I think that once we have enough members inside of this community, it's just going to snowball. Like it's going to hit that critical mass and then it's just going to go like there's, we're not even going to be able to stop it. There's just going to be like so many people joining it that like eventually, like if you're a solo woman travel, you're just going to be part of HerHouse. Like it's just like normal, like everyone's part of it. And so that's just what it's going to be like eventually. But it's like, it takes so much drive, so much vision as an entrepreneur to know that like we're kind of like in all of like the shit right now. But I feel like we're almost to the top. Like I don't like it, we have a ways to go like until we hit that critical mass, like to get to the other side. But at least I'm not like stuck down at the bottom of the mountain with like this boulder, not even on like a pulley system or something. It's just like this huge ash boulder that I cannot move. But now like the boulder's moving, it's just like still a huge push. So, it's still just like casting the vision. And I think that's the thing about being an entrepreneur is that you have to be able to see it in your mind before everyone else. Like you see this thing that doesn't exist and you have to like keep casting the vision, be like a vision caster over and over and over and over and over again so that like other people can catch the vision with you and like come with you to help you like push this huge boulder up a hill. So that's pretty much where we're at right now in regards to HerHouse. I know that I'll probably, I might re-record this like next October and like give you an update of like how the business is doing at that time. But that's pretty much how I built HerHouse. Like from me I'm a non-tech founder. Like I don't have a background in technology. I got my degree in health sciences because I was going to go to medical school. And so obviously that didn't happen. So I will say that like, even if you don't have a technology background, but you have an idea for technology, like I think a lot of wonderful ideas are born from people that don't have technology background. Like it comes from a need in the market. Like if you have a need, then someone else probably has it too. So that's like really the story of HerHouse. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Dream Big, Have Adventures podcast. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're feeling generous, a review is a really helpful way to help us reach more listeners around the world. And if you're a woman keen for solo adventure but want a real community who you can connect and stay with around the world, come join us in HerHouse. You can download the app right now on Google and Apple, and you can check us out with a 7-day free trial. I can't wait to connect with you personally inside of the HerHouse network. And until next time, keep dreaming big and having adventures. We'll see you out there.